Jim Rogers, author of Street Smarts and Adventure on the Road in the Markets. He joins us live now. Jim, pleasure and a delight to have you back on ET Now. Thank you for joining us. Jim, why are markets so nervous ahead of this presidential election cycle? We've seen these cycles every 4 years, and this time markets are nervous as if the US presidential cycle or the next US president will make or break the world.
Well, yes, but remember, this cycle will be a new president and maybe a new party, so it's a little bit different from 2012, when the chances were great it would be the same party and the same president. This time could be a great upheaval, and many people are worried. I hope you are.
So what are you placing your bets on, Jim? Which way is the US election vote going to swing? Is it going to be a Clinton victory, or are we going to see Trump take over the Oval Office?
It really doesn't matter what I think. I happen to think that Trump will win, but who cares what I think? The only thing that matters is what happens. I am short in the United States, and if Mr. Trump wins, that might make stocks go down. I might have it right. But who cares what I think? I don't care what I think. It's what the voters think.
Well, Jim, we do. That's the reason we have you. So in case it is a Trump victory then, Jim, how are you placing your bets? Like you said, stocks are likely to go down. But what about the commodity trade?
Well, I'm short the United States stock market, as I said. Commodities, that's a good question. I suspect that oil will probably not go down because people will be worried about war and some of the things he might do. I'm long the U.S. dollar. Mr. Trump says he's going to have trade wars. I'm long the U.S. dollar anyway. Trade wars usually make a currency go up, at least for a while. Gold, I suspect gold will maybe go down because people will be worried about what he might do. Agriculture, I suspect, will stay the same, maybe even rise.
Jim, irrespective of who is the next president, do you think for commodities, a new cycle has started? Because suddenly, if I look at commodities, at least the major ones, all commodity prices are up by about 50 to 70% from the recent lows.
Well, whether it's a new cycle or a continuation of the old cycle, yes, I do think commodities will be going up for a while. All bull markets and all bear markets have big consolidations. Commodities have been consolidating. They are rising again. I suspect commodities will continue to go higher, albeit with some consolidations, but I had rather be long than short most commodities.
Jim, for the longest time, we've identified that China is a real problem for the commodity bull market. Not that the data points from China has changed, but one is getting a sense at least the worst of the contraction for the Chinese economy is behind us. So do you think China once again will play the lead role in determining where commodity prices would move?
Well, remember, China is 1/3 the size of the U.S. Economy, less than 1/3 the size of the European economies. Yes, they're important, but America and Europe and Japan are much more important to all markets, certainly to commodity markets. Now, if China starts buying a lot of commodities, that will help. But if Europe and America drop their demand, it really won't matter. But to the bigger point, I expect most of the world to have economic problems in the next couple of years, and that will mean China will have economic problems. China is a very large trading country now, and if their customers have problems, they have problems.
So, Jim, I mean, what are you making of the recent clearance coming in from the FBI with regards to Hillary Clinton's emails? And now they said she can use a private server once again. It's surprising that you're still placing your bets on Trump.
Well, it doesn't matter. I repeat, it doesn't matter what I think. My sense is that, and by the way, I did not vote for Trump. I did not vote for Clinton. I voted a protest vote. Both, the lesser of two evils is still an evil, if you ask me. So I didn't vote for either of these turkeys. If enough people vote protest, eventually we will stop getting turkeys as candidates. My sense is, who knows? We'll know in 48 hours. My sense is that Trump will win.
What happens if indeed it's a Hillary Clinton victory? You know, we know Trump is opposed to trade with China. That definitely is going to be bad news, and that only, you know, goes further with your view that the globe is facing an economic slowdown. But if indeed it's a Clinton victory, what would it mean for trade with emerging markets and aside of that with China?
Well, the world's going to have economic problems, whoever wins on Tuesday. There's no question about that. The slowdown will come slower later if Mrs. Clinton wins. She says she's going to raise taxes, raise spending, etc. The American economy cannot take more tax increases or spending or more debt. So the problems will happen. They'll just happen slower. If Mr. Trump wins, it'll lead to bankruptcy and war, probably war. If Mrs. Clinton wins, it'll be bankruptcy and probably war. It'll just take longer.
Jim, I have a very simple question. If I look at the presidential campaign of Clinton and Trump, Clinton is anti-Wall Street, he's anti-Big Pharma. Trump is talking about cutting taxes and jump-starting the US economy. So I wonder, Wall Street, which always want lower taxes and more stimulus, why are they so anti-Trump?
Well, because Mr. Trump has vowed there will be trade wars. Everybody who knows any history at all knows that trade wars lead to bankruptcy and problems and economic problems. Mr. Trump, what will probably happen if Mr. Trump wins, the market will go down in panic, but then he will come out and say, don't worry, I have tax cuts, I have this, that, and the other. And then there'll be a relief rally, you know, later in November or December until people realize it cannot work.
Okay, Jim, I'd like to draw your attention to what's happening in the bond market, and bond yields have inched higher from the recent lows. I mean, they're still at historic low, but they've inched higher. German Bund is in positive territory. US 10-year paper is now above 1.5%. Do you think the rally in the bond market is over?
Yes, I think that the bull market, the bull market has been going on for 35 years. You have big, long bull and bear markets in bonds in the United States. In my view, that 35-year bull market has come to an end, and now bonds will be going down for a long time. I have thought this before and been wrong, but I am not short bonds. I am short junk bonds in the United States. Only junk bonds.
Jim, let's chat about our favorite country, India. Where does India lie in the pack of cards, irrespective of a Trump or a Clinton victory?
I'll repeat to you again that if you can only visit one country in your life, you should visit India. It's an astonishing place to visit. However, in the scenario which I've just outlined for the world, India is going to have problems too. I mean, you've got debt. Your debt keeps going higher and higher. Mr. Modi has finally done something significant. It looks as though he's going to reform GST, which would be great for India. Thank goodness, after all these years. But India cannot escape what's going to happen to the world. Nobody can.
Okay, Jim. Let me ask you my final question. And I distinctly remember, once we interacted on this forum a couple of years ago, you said, look, I don't look at today, tomorrow, this week, this month, next month. Let's talk about some structural trades here, which are open for 3 to 5 years. So give me a structural trade, Jim, irrespective of what will happen, with US presidential election, what will happen to world in next 1 month. Give me a 5-year structural trade, long or short, you can pick and choose.
Buy agriculture, short junk bonds in the US, long, those two.
Jim, really appreciate your time and thank you for joining us and take care of yourself, Jim.
Thank you.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/etnow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at etnowlive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/etnow.